What's up, YouTube? It's your boy D. Hankins back with part 2 of our 4 lessons I learned from Walt Disney that will change your life series. If you're just tuning in, allow me to catch you up. I was inspired to look into how Disneyland physically got here. And on my quest, I came across 4 principles Walt Disney had to apply to get Disneyland here. 1, solving a problem. 2, doing what needed to be done. 3, doing the work. And 4, not taking no for an answer. This video is all about doing what needs to be done. So let's dive right into it. But first, cue the music. This video will focus on the principle of doing what needs to be done. Doing what needs to be done can sound very cliche. Duh. Of course you need to do what needs to be done in order to make your dreams come true. However, it's this principle that causes most dreams to die. Doing what needs to be done makes you ask this question: what am I willing to do to make my dream come true? It took Walt Disney 15 years to get Disneyland from an idea to reality. 15 years. I know people who can't follow their goals for 15 days. I know people who can't pay attention for 15 minutes. So 15 years is quite impressive. Now let's not confuse this with being on a job for 15 years, climbing up the ranks to be promoted. I'm talking about dreaming of something, creating something, and building something that's never been seen before. How many pieces of paper were crumpled up? How many composite sketches tossed? How many doubts run through your mind in 15 years? That is why I am completely blown away by Walt Disney building Disneyland. That is why doing what needs to be done is absolutely critical. Are you willing to push through the people who think you've gone mad? Are you willing to push through family members who think you're doing something impossible? Are you willing to shut out the people who think your idea is stupid and a waste of time? Are you willing to do what needs to be done? Walt did. He believed so much in Disneyland that doing what needs to be done to make his idea into a reality became second nature. Disney knew he'd have doubters. So what did he do? He surrounded himself with people who supported his idea. This is important because it's common for people like you and I to give up on our dreams when we don't feel supported. How many ideas have we stopped pursuing or completely just dropped based on that fact alone? A lot. Let's dive in a little further. At the time, there was nothing like a Disneyland around, so there was no precedent, there was no model, there was nothing to go off of. And since there was nothing to go off of, it's hard for people to visualize this idea. And if it's hard for people to visualize this idea, it's even more difficult to find help. But what did he do? He built his own company. He built his own separate company, filled it with his own people, specifically to work on Disneyland. And I find that hilarious because I can just imagine walking into the office. You're fired. But I'm hiring you at my new company. Drop what you're doing. Your job is specifically to work on Disneyland. Something that's never been done before. Just make it happen. Wait, what? That's crazy. But this wasn't a crazy idea. Drastic ideas, drastic measures, but he made it work. And that I find just mind-blowingly hilarious, funny. I don't know, I'm just amped up because that's wild, man. But what are you willing to do to make your dream into a reality? Are you willing to do what needs to be done? And Walt Disney was willing to do what needs to be done. Again, he believes so much in Disneyland that he made some drastic changes in his life. Disneyland cost $17 million to build. $17 million. This was 1950s. He didn't have all that. So what did he do? He liquidated his vacation homes. He sold rights to his own name and his own company. Like, this dude went off the wall to make Disneyland happen. And he did. Are you willing to do what needs to be done to turn your dream into a reality? That's something that you have to ask yourself, because doing what needs to be done requires a lot of things, uncomfortable things. It requires sacrifice to the greatest magnitude. It requires cutting some people off. It requires becoming a boss, doing boss things that you may feel uncomfortable with doing. It requires sweat. It requires tears. It requires sleepless nights, late nights, early mornings. But once we do it, we can build something as amazing as Disneyland. His imagination, his work ethic, these principles that he followed to get Disneyland here has changed the lives of millions and millions of people. And so can your idea, if you're willing to do what needs to be done. That concludes part 2 of this series. I'll see you guys next time, where we talk about how Disney actually did some work at Disneyland. And I'm out.